So good morning and welcome. Hope you had a really terrific Christmas. My name is Reverend Dr. Ron Fox, and I'm welcoming you to this Sunday morning service for the Center for Spiritual Living, Space Coast. And if there's anybody watching today or at any time that has never been to a Center for Spiritual Living, we believe there's one God, many paths to that God, and we're here to love, honor, and support you, no matter what your divine path is. And the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast is a safe haven for people of all beliefs and lifestyles, whoever you are and wherever you may find yourself on your journey of faith. You're welcome here. And to begin our service this morning, my wife Becky, who's a practitioner emeritus, is going to open us with a prayer, and then Carol Gabika is going to do what we know will be a wonderful spiritual reading for us.
So let's just take this moment to turn within to that place of oneness. And right here, I'm knowing for each one of us that this infinite love, this infinite power that is always surrounding us, that is in the form and the formless and the seen and unseen, is right here within us. I'm knowing my oneness in infinite spirit, that there is no separation, that it is who and what I am. And I'm knowing this for each one of us, that as we open up and allow this divine spirit to overflow in our hearts, we allow this love to connect with one another. And this is what the Christmas spirit is all about: loving one another, reaching out to those who are maybe hesitant to reach out. And so I'm knowing for each of us that the season of love is right here before us, that this wonderful power is within Reverend Dr. Ron and his message, that it is always guiding him, directing him, allowing his heart to open up to its message. And so let us, each one of us, open up our hearts to hear this message of love. And so for this and so much more, I release this prayer. And just know that it is so, and so it is.
Thank you, Becky.
Good morning, everybody. Christmas. While it is over according to the calendar, hopefully it is not over. Christmas, so many messages carried with it. Messages from our youth with shiny eyes, if you were lucky as I to see gifts under the tree. As we grow older, the message of Christmas can change to the light in the eyes of those younger, be they family or not. But the true gifts of Christmas never truly mean packages and sparkling lights. The true gift is a celebration of the gift of hope. Hope of love among mankind, hope of peace that calms our fears, hope of the charity that urges us to help others, the celebration of the remembrance of a man whose birth, life, and death impacted the entire world. Messages of love, hope, peace, and charity resounded through teachers of all mankind, the same message spoken using different definitions through the generations, through the givers of the message of love, hope, peace, and charity. The true blessings of Christmas is, if we stop to contemplate our role in the world as a carrier of love, hope, peace, and charity. Long after the Christmas trees are down and the lights in storage, I wish you a Merry Christmas throughout your journey.
Well, Carol, thank you so much. You captured in that everything I want to speak about today. So the title of the message today is Christmas Unwrapped. And I want to begin by reading something from the late Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman, who is a modern day mystic. And the title of the piece is called Gifts Upon My Altar. I place these gifts on my altar this Christmas, gifts that are mine as the years are mine, the quiet hopes that flood the earnest cargo of my dreams, the best of all things for those I love, a fresh new trust for all whose faith is dim, the love of life, God's precious gift in reach of all, seeing in each day the seeds of the morrow, finding in each struggle the strength of renewal, seeking in each person the face of my brother. I place these gifts upon my altar this Christmas, gifts that are mine as the years are mine. And so I want to begin by saying something that Carol taught us in her reading, and that is Christmas is more than a day. It's a concept. It's an idea. It's a time of love, of peace, of joy, and of compassion. You know, Ernest Holmes, who founded the Centers for Spiritual Living, said, when we read in the Bible about angels saying, glory to God in the highest and peace on earth, goodwill to men, Holmes said, that means when we listen to the voice of our intuition, we come to a consciousness of peace and a realization that we all belong to one human family. He said, for surely God desires peace on earth and goodwill towards men. This is a time, this whole last week, this week, and hopefully we can carry it on when our prayers go out for goodwill to everybody in the world. Our desire is that peace comes to all people and to all nations, binding together in what Holmes called the golden chain of love. I just really like that, the golden chain of love. He said Christmas is for remembering that God is for you and for me. It's living knowing that every day is holy when we remember our oneness, our connection with one another and with spirit. He wrote a beautiful piece that's too long for me to read now, but he talked about Christmas being for remembrance. And he said, we don't find, Carol made this point too, we don't find gifts in the giving, but in the sweet simplicity of remembrance. What does he mean? He means remembering a kindly thought, the tolerant mind, the gentle act. Love alone can give us love. He said, sympathy alone can sympathize, and only goodness can be good. And this is the time of year when we come to find the Christ within us, and not only us, but within each other, a symbol of our own inner awakening. And the 14th century mystic, Meister Eckhart said, what good is it to me if the eternal birth of the divine Son takes place unceasingly, but does not take place within myself? And so he's saying, what good is it? We can talk about, Jesus and the birth of a divine Son, but what good is it if that Christ within doesn't take birth within us and we reach out in different ways? Christ never said that he was different. He said, you can do what I do. You can go where I'm going. What I am, you are. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, and the only thing that obscures it for us is our lack of faith. Our lack of faith. And Holmes said, let's not number the birth of Christ in years going backward, but let's bring those years coming forward into our own experience. That's exactly what Meister Eckhart was saying. And let's permit the new birth to take place in our consciousness. So back when I was doing research for this message, I came upon something that I wrote about way back in 2018 in Science of Mind magazine. And it's about a young girl named Kathleen Crabtree. And she wrote about a significant Christmas in her life. She said her dad took her one Christmas to a place to share gifts with less fortunate children. And this is what Kathleen wrote. She said, to make Christmas a little better for someone who couldn't afford it was like nothing I had ever experienced. It was like a first Christmas for me in many ways. She said, the Christmas I had asked for, that Christmas, let me do that again. That Christmas, I had asked for riches that I might be happy, but I was given poverty that I might be wise. St. Paul said, love never fails. And he was speaking about a love that doesn't judge, where we allow each other space to grow, a love that sees beyond appearances. And in order to receive it, in order to receive that kind of love in our life, we need to be willing to give it. And when we become the love that we're seeking, we find love is abounding all around us. I saw something this week that I've seen before, and it touched me again, like it always does. It's something by Ram Dass, who said, we're just walking each other home. I just love the simplicity of that. We're all just walking each other home. It means that we're taking time to care about each other, to accept each other for the divine beings that we are. It's about, for me, it's about finding our own wholeness and knowing who we are at our deepest level. Maria Shriver writes a Sunday paper reflection. She started doing this several months ago, and she does it every Sunday. And I want to share with you something that Maria wrote last Sunday. She wrote, "We must all remember," said the voice, "that at the end of the day, we are all children playing. We must confirm that back to one another and in every way we can. Let the laughter of children playing ring in your ears. Open your eyes and see the smiles, the happiness. Listen for the squeals of joy. We live in times of tumult and darkness, pain and fear, pain and fear, and we must do all we can not to go into the dark neighborhoods of our own minds, for there is a light in each of us. Let us remove the layers that stop us from seeing my light and seeing your light, and vice versa. Your light shows me the way. My light shows you the way. Life is like that. Remember, we are all simply children, laughing and playing. Play into the light. So I read an article this week by somebody named Stephen Dinan, D-I-N-A-N. And I was struck by it because what he writes is so close to the Centers for Spiritual Living Global Heart mission. And he said, you know, the Christ potential is about creating a just world, a merciful world where we tend to the sick, where we house the homeless, where we minister to victims of violence, and where we allow everybody to flourish. And he said, think about this. He said, we need the Christ in boardrooms. We need the Christ in Congress. We need the Christ in school teachers. He said, right now in our time, we are the ones who are tasked with healing the world, with ending wars and hatred, with making heaven on earth. This is our time where we can look around and see God everywhere and in everyone. This season, and again, Carol made this point, this season isn't about things, it's about people. You know, one of the things, think about this. Jesus was born in a stable. We all know, excuse me, we all know that story. And one of the metaphysical lessons we can take from that is that we can find God anywhere, even in a stable. That our background isn't what's important, it's what we do with it that matters. I want to read another piece by Howard Thurman. This one is titled Christmas Returns. Christmas returns as it always does, with its assurance that life is good. It is a time of lift to the spirit, when the mind feels its way into the commonplace and senses the wonder of simple things. An evergreen tree, familiar carols, merry laughter. It is a time of illumination, when candles burn and old dreams find their youth again. It is a time of pause, when forgotten joys come back to mind and past dedications renew their claim. It is a time of harvest for the heart, when faith reaches out to mantle all high endeavor, and love whispers its magic word to everything that breathes. Christmas returns as it always does, with its assurance that life is good. So in my book that we published this year, I tell a story in there about a young girl named Erin McCormick. And one year at Christmas Eve, her parents told her that they were going to go and work in a homeless shelter. and she threw a fit. That isn't what she wanted to do. That isn't how she wanted to spend her Christmas Eve. And she wrote, when they walked in, she saw 30 homeless men softly singing. And one of the men thanked her for coming and called her an angel. And this is what she wrote. She said when she got home, this is the letter she wrote to Santa. Dear Santa, I wrote you a letter earlier, but I am writing a new one now. Please take care of the man that I met earlier and bring him some of the gifts you were bringing me. Please keep him safe from the outdoors and make sure he is happy. That's all I want this year. You can still bring me presents, but the one thing I want is for you to look out for my new friend. Love, Aaron. That's the message of Christmas. So I want to close with something from Emmanuel. Every moment of your life, you are offered an opportunity to choose love or fear, to tread the earth or to soar to the heavens. Fear would walk you on a narrow path, promising to take you where you want to go. Love says, open your arms and fly with me. Thank you for being here this morning. God bless you. And I hope you have a great week.